Very good evening to everybody. Welcome to tonight's On the Sofa. We've just brought Vic and Ray on straight away. We're just waiting for Johnny. He's on his way. He's a bit delayed, but he'll be with us shortly. So the three of us are just going to have a chat regarding Saturday before Johnny appears. So, Vic, have you got any news to give us?
Well, just thinking, there's a couple of pictures you might have thought about at the beginning. One was of Owen Dawson. It's League Cup final week, of course, the anniversary of the '69 League Cup final. That's coming up on Sunday, hence the pictures of it. And Owen Dawson, who was unlucky to miss out on the final because of injury, it was his birthday on March the 7th. He was born on March the 7th, 1943 in Hatfield. His debut was away against Watford on the 23rd of February, 1963. It was a 3-3 draw. The goals coming from Ernie Hunt with 2 and Mike Summerby. How about that? Pretty good, eh? And Ian Holloway, of course, the manager. It's his birthday on March the 12th, this coming Thursday.
Oh.
His first match was the 2nd of November 2024 against Colchester. No, not that one. No, not that one. It was the home FA Cup tie. They won 2-1 after extra time. Joel McGregor on 83 and Shamanga on 106. The rest, as they say, is history.
Thank you very much. So we had a very good win for the women yesterday. Another goal fest, 8-0 against Keynsham. Very good. So they are fighting at the top of the table. Not many games left for them, so that's good. So next Sunday, Mother's Day, they have a game at home against Abingdon. So if anybody wants to come, mums will get in free. So a nice Mother's Day gesture. So if there's anybody who would like to come out on that match, they'd love to see you. And the game was a Hurricane 2 dedicated fixture, which is good. Holly done a brilliant job. Lots of things for the kids to do and giveaways. And I had the privilege, myself, Holly and Andrea Clayton, of walking the team out with the flag, her Game 2 flag. So thank you, Holly, for allowing me to do that. That was very nice. And I did.
Yeah, well done. Well done to Holly, because she's had 2 really busy weeks, hasn't she? So she's done very well. Yeah.
So have a rest now for a bit. Bless
her.
So that was good yesterday. So carry on. What about Saturday?
Yeah, Ray, what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, just typical football, wasn't it? Really, we managed to win it and throw it away, both within injury time, haven't we? So the mix of emotions is so frustrating, isn't it, when you come out of the ground after that's happened? Because it appeared, not saying we deserved to have won it, but it appeared we had. And then, lo and behold, they go down the other end and get the equaliser. They did the same to Chesterfield a little while ago as well. Scored right at the end as well. Yeah. But, really frustrating. And you look at the goal and their second goal and you think, could we have actually stopped the cross? Could we have just got to that ball just ahead of him as well? When you look at it, it's just all sort of like fine margins, isn't it? And reality is it was a draw.
Yeah, it was a ridiculous few minutes because I think Billy Bowden scored 2 minutes into injury time, and you thought, great, we won. Oh no, there's still 7 minutes left to go, Chris, and you're thinking 7 long minutes.
A long 7 minutes. It was a very long 7 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, I did say to the person next to me, at least we won't lose it now. we didn't win it, but we didn't lose it.
I mean, I don't know why I'm laughing, because the thing is, it's one of those odd games where you come away thinking we've lost this and Crawley go away thinking they've won it. It's one of those weird matches, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it leaves Swindon 5th in the table now with 63 points. Bromley, of course, on top, 70 points from their 36 games. 5 points down behind MK Dons, 65 from 35. Then come Cambridge, 65 from 35. Notts County, 64 from 35. And then Swindon, 63 from 36. Just 2 points out the top 3, Ray. Huge games coming up against MK Dons and Cambridge.
Yeah, absolutely massive. It's, you kind of part of you is wondering what sort of side we're going to have out on Saturday, because there's obviously potentially a couple of hamstring injuries from Saturday. We've got a squad that will have a side out, but it's going to be tough, isn't it? They are a competitive side at this level. I was thinking back to the game up there. Was it Boxing Day? It was Boxing Day, wasn't it? The game up there, and there wasn't a lot in that game really. We could have come away with a point from that one. so that there wasn't a huge amount in it. But we need the 3 really this weekend, don't we?
Definitely need a win, don't we, Chris?
Yeah, definitely. But it's so tight, isn't it? It's I think it's just an advantage that the other teams are drawing when we do in things. So it's nobody's sort of running away with it. I know Bromley are a couple of points clear, but yeah. So it's pretty tough. But yes, it is a massive game for us Saturday. Hopefully, because I hear a lot of words were said between the players on Saturday after the game, and it might be that they bring them back to normality. And I was saying to people after the game, it's so frustrating because we know that team can play. We know that they can play well. Just why aren't they? What is it? And I just can't put my finger on what is it that's not happening.
Yeah, it's odd because lots of teams are doing their very best not to grasp this, aren't they? And you still think after the run we've had, which has not been brilliant, there we are. We're still 2 points outside the automatics. So it's there still for the taking.
It is. And my heart says, yes, we will get there. We will go up automatically. But it just needs a bit of I don't know. I just wish I knew what was wrong so I could sort of say, it's this, or this. But you just can't put your finger on it because we know that they can play brilliantly. But
yeah, just to let you know that Johnny Goddard will be with us very shortly. He's on his way back from work, so bless him, he's rushing back. So as soon as he gets here and settles himself, we'll be able to talk to him. Anthony says all games at this point in the season are tough. Everyone fighting for different reasons. I think that's absolutely fair to say, isn't it, Ray? Because you know Crawley are desperate to stay up. They're not just going to roll over and have their tummy tickled, are they?
No, absolutely. And look at Harrogate against us a little while ago as well. Yeah, no, absolutely not. And I think I read something Sam Morshead has said that no team in League Two had won the last 2 games, so nobody had put 2 wins together.
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it?
And that kind of sums the league up, really. You can't count on any fixture really being a banker, can you?
No, I mean I have to say that first 45 minutes was not pleasurable, Chris, was it? It was pretty horrible, really.
It was, and it just go to show on the bus coming home, the 2 players that got close on the man of the match were the 2 that come on in the second half. Mabete and Fletcher Holman.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
That just goes to show they discarded all the first half altogether. So it was just it was those 2 that come top. So yeah,
I think thing is, Ray, Mabete, I mean, my goodness, some of those tackles he shoved in, you would like to be on the receiving end, but it shows the spirit he has, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's very, very, very competitive, isn't he? If he's got the discipline coming to go with that competitive edge, he'd be a terrific defender. So hopefully we'll see some more of that before the end of the season. And hopefully give him a chance to settle down and show a mature side to his game as well, because he's definitely an asset to us.
Oh,
well.
Gotcha.
It was a terrific atmosphere against Rovers the other week. It's a 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday afternoon. So, let's get that ground packed, I think, Chris, and let's get that atmosphere going again.
Exactly. I think we just all have to pull together and just make it as noisy and everything as we can. Just get behind them. Even if they slack off and it's a bit dreary, whatever, just get behind them and from the full 90 minutes, and we can do our bit. Once those players are over the line, they say it's up to them, but we can sure make it possible that we can put some help into it. So
well, Darren says pressure this time of the season is always the same. We desperately need to get a bit of confidence and momentum. Let's get out of this rubbish league, and so say all of us. The old heads need to stand up now and pull the young players up, and I think that's what Holloway was saying after Saturday, wasn't it, Ray? He was saying, come on, and I think people have said we need leaders out there. I think Marcus Fjortoft said the very same. This is the time of the season when you really need people to stand up for you.
Yeah, absolutely you do, which is why you hope that the Clark injury on Saturday is nothing to worry about as well, because, he definitely falls into that category. But no, and picking up what Chris said, it's about all of us doing it. I thought supporters were great again on Saturday. Brilliant turnout. And that wasn't good first half, but there wasn't any real negative vibe from the crowd, was there? Probably the reverse. So I think the supporters, the last couple of games, definitely doing their bit.
Yeah.
And I guess that's all we can do is keep that going.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of grumbling during the half-time break when they're having their cups of tea and stuff, but that's fair enough, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
We'll always
Yeah.
grumble no matter what.
well, of course you do. Absolutely right. Yeah. But all we want is promotion. We're all after the same goal. So Saturday at 3:00, whatever your thoughts are, there's only one thing we want, and that's a town win, basically. Let's get behind them and help it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind if it's an ugly win or a lovely, pretty win, whichever way it is, as long as it's a win.
One question I do have, and this goes back to the win over MK Dons in the Virtue Motors. Do you remember that competition?
Yeah.
Does Aaron Drinnan's goal still stand?
What,
I guess so.
In when they won 4-0 there.
Yeah, because he could play.
Yeah.
He was okay.
No, but what I mean is because we were removed from the competition.
Oh.
Are those results expunged?
Right.
I just,
Oh, don't go there, Vic. Everyone's just getting over it.
It's not worth it.
No. It's sort of things you think about 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, I don't know actually. It's a weird one, isn't it? But
yeah,
we scored it. It was a competitive match, even though we were shoved out. I don't know.
I don't know. No,
we'll try. If anybody's more knowledgeable about the rules than us, please let us know.
Yeah.
But Mr. Goddard has joined us. So do you want me to bring him on now?
That would be very nice, I think so. Yes, indeed.
Well, thank you very much, Ray. I know you're going to drop out now, but thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
And I will see you soon.
Yeah, see you later.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Ray. Cheers. And Andy says, why do we always start the game so slow? Well, maybe an ex-professional footballer for Swindon Town might be able to tell us.
Hey, Johnny.
Yeah.
Hi,
Mr. Goddard,
your manager.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's an absolute pleasure. And I know you've rushed home from work, so we're doubly grateful that you made it to us this afternoon, this evening. Thank you.
Right, I'm going to leave you with Vic, and I'll talk to you later.
Cheers, Chris. Thank you very much. Chris is here, but Johnny's gone.
Oh, that's my fault.
Okay. Here we go. Oh no, still not gone. Hi, Darren. I do think other teams are doing their homework and seeing Town are starting slowly. We need to hit the team early, not what they expect. You're back with us, and nice to see you. Thank you very much, Steve, for joining us. You're back from work, so can you take what do you do at the minute?
Well, busy. So a few things, Vic. So I got a football academy, which I've been running now for sort of 13 years. So had the football academy when I was at Swindon as well. Started that when I was quite young. That's sort of branched out as well into a childcare business. So we sort of deal with loads of different programs with kids. So anything in sport, activity camps, after school clubs, breakfast clubs, that sort of thing. And obviously still playing, so a fair bit going on. So yeah, balancing act.
Yeah, so you, like community foundations, you work 48-hour days, do you? You work on a different time clock to everybody else?
Wow, yeah, sometimes needs must. Yeah, it's quite unsociable hours sometimes, but fortunate enough, I've got a lot of a good team around me as well. So I don't do all the heavy lifting as such, but plenty of running around still, yeah.
Yeah. So you're back at Slough playing, aren't you? You play coach there or playing?
Yeah, so player coach. I'm just playing at the moment. Again, like we're lucky enough to have quite a number of good staff members at Slough. We've got a player manager, which you don't see a lot of these days. But the dynamic of having a player manager and a player coach was difficult on a Saturday because you sort of end up being left with no one in the dugout at times.
Yeah.
So I'm still helping the management side, but concentrating a lot more on playing at the minute, which is always good.
Well, let's go back right to the beginning. You're born in Sandhurst, which obviously is a famous place for other reasons. Ever any thought of going into the military, or did that not occur?
No, definitely not. It's a funny one, really, because Sandhurst is only a small town, but didn't really have anything to do with the military. Although as famous and as big as it is, it's sort of very secluded, kept away, obviously sort of under lock and key. So it had nothing to do with that. But yeah, brought up in Sandhurst, nice area, but live in Reading now, so just down the M4. And Yeah, good memories. Playing a lot of football in Sandhurst. Quickly got into football and joined Reading, and yeah, went from there really.
Yeah, you started your career at Reading, first professional contract in 2011, but didn't stay there long. So what happened at Reading?
Well, sad I didn't stay there. I joined at 8 and left at 19, so it was a long
Oh, a
journey.
fair old time. First professional contract
Yeah,
in 2011.
that's right. So did my obviously scholarship as a professional, and then that year we won the championship, which was a great to be a part of. Just didn't play any games, but training with the group, learning a lot from the experienced players, and just seeing how a team was set up to go and win the championship's just such a grueling season. You know, there's so many games thick and fast. So to just be around that was brilliant. But in hindsight, getting promoted to the Premier League really hampered a lot of us younger boys. So part of my group, we sort of let nearly everyone go. And the club focused on obviously bringing some bigger names in. Like back at the time, it was like Pog Brenniak and Royston Drentner, and all these players went to Reading. And then lo and behold, sort of a year later, they were back in the Championship, and a lot of my mates were playing in the first team. So as with it is with football, it's a lot of sort of sliding doors and right timing. But great club. I then went back and coached in the academy when I left. So again, like worked there, and yeah, good club. Obviously had hard times recently, but that was when I then went into non-league and forged the first team career, if you like, for myself.
Yeah, we'll talk about the drop into non-league in a minute. I say drop, but I mean a lot of players go into non-league and then have really decent careers, don't they? But that move up to the Premier League for a lot of clubs, is that a blocking movement for younger players who are at the club, would you say? Because they tend to bring in players who are, from abroad and things like that, and people often point a finger at that. But is it a blocking movement?
That's exactly what happened then, but that was probably 13 odd years ago. So I think the system's changed now. At the time, like I said, pretty much our whole squad got released. But now the boys would get professional contracts and go and play in the under 21s and under 23s. And we've got a couple of young lads on loan from Reading at the moment, and they're doing really well, but they're all about 21, 22. So you sort of get a bit of an extended period of time at these clubs now. Whereas when it was my turn, it was sort of you get released at like 18 or 19. I think now obviously the academy structure is stretched a little bit, so you get a couple of extra years of development, which obviously helps the boys, and it gives you an extra chance to grow physically. I'm not the biggest, and at 19, I certainly wasn't the biggest player. Maybe a couple of years of development and patience at that time would have helped, but there's no right or wrong way to go and play. Obviously, like you said, a lot of players drop into non-league and do really well, but even more players drop into non-league and fall by the wayside. So football in this country is just so competitive, and obviously running my own football academy, you see it now. Bless, every young boy wants to be a footballer, so it's probably the most competitive job in the world, and obviously not everyone can make it. So yeah, you need a little bit of luck, it's a little bit of timing, and obviously a lot of hard work as well.
What are your thoughts when you do get released? I mean, we've talked to people on here before where, it's a very emotional time, isn't it? Because your dream is to play professional football. As you said, you were there I think you said from 8 years old, and what you want to do is play professional football. So from what you experienced and what you know that other people experience, how difficult is that to deal with?
It is difficult. I probably didn't expect it either, which may have been naive from my point of view, but I did feel like I was doing well and training around the first team and developing well as a young player. I think getting actually released is one thing, but the real difficulty is then finding your next club, because obviously your own world evolves around you. You're the most important person, and you think everything is geared up to being successful as a young player, and you commit your life to it really, and then you soon realise that you've been released alongside hundreds of other players and young players, older players, more experienced players, and you were waiting on your agent to try and sort something for you, and that's the real challenging part of it. I remember sort of being passed around a little bit on the phone and trying to sort a club out and being offered trials and this, that, and the other. But yeah, it's really difficult, and I don't envy any young player going through that at the moment, you know. And I see a lot of players come down at Slough that are trying to start their career and make a name for themselves. And it is so difficult, it's so competitive, and the standard of these divisions and these clubs is just getting higher all the time. Like you said, with foreign players, obviously coming in at all levels, and obviously all the money that goes into it. There's the competitiveness has never been higher. So you see that in the FA Cup this week. You know, teams are always Macclesfield beating Crystal Palace the other week. So it's so competitive and it's so difficult. So yeah, there's no right or wrong way to do it. But yeah, I mean, for me, going into non-league and all the rest of it, it sort of built me as a person, as a character, and as a player ultimately. So I don't regret anything, but obviously, if I'd have been offered the chance to stay at Reading, I'd have snatched your hand off at the time.
And with that experience, I guess you've mentioned your academies. You kind of can pass that experience and that knowledge on to younger people as well, because you know the dream is, as I said, to play professional football, get in the Premier League, blah blah blah. But there are many who aren't going to make it. So does that help you when you're talking to younger players now?
I think so, yeah. And the stats are quite well documented of the amount of players that actually make it that are playing for like under 18 sides. So, you know, when the younger ones are trying to, you know, aspire to that, there needs to be a sense of reality in that as well. And I don't want to go and you know, put a downer on dreams, and you know, it's a massive part of what we do. But again, we just always try and emphasize on working hard, doing everything off the pitch correctly, working hard at school, being a good person, you know, not just a good football player. And yeah, see where that takes you, because you know the most important thing that we do is make sure that the children and the young players enjoy it, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. And even through my time in football, when I've enjoyed my football, I've always played better. When I've had times where I've not enjoyed it as much, or you know, have been in and outside, or have not gone so well with a manager, you know, it doesn't bode well for your performance. So yeah, it's a great experience for me, and you know, like I said at Slough, I use that as well now. We've got a really young group of players, and I'm sort of the oldest player apart from the manager there. So I've enjoyed doing that as well, and being a bit of a mentor for those guys.
So after Reading, then Hazen, Yedding, and then Woking, I think it was. 31 goals and 139 appearances for Woking, and then Swindon Town come to your attention. So how did it work out, Hazen, Yedding, and then Woking?
So Hayes, I knew the manager. So manager was at Reading, and he took the manager's job at Hayes and Yedding. So again, that was part of what I was saying. It was just so difficult to get a club. You know, I was being released from within the Premiership side, thinking, well, you know, maybe I can go and get a few games in League One, League Two. And in reality, I had absolutely no chance. So the summer sort of passed. I was training on my own. I was doing everything I could. I went up to Scotland and had a trial at St Johnstone, and then the first team that week were actually playing probably was a UEFA Cup tie at the time in Turkey or somewhere. So the first team weren't even there. So I was literally basically training with a couple of the youth team players. So yeah, it was just a real strange time. And the Hayes manager just said, "Listen, Johnny, you can come and sign for me. I'll play you, and you can move on when the club comes in for you." And then lo and behold, I played a whole season there, and yeah, that was that. So really good experience. Hayes and Yedding were ground sharing with Woking at the time. So the Woking assistant manager had seen me play quite a bit, and he basically offered me to come and trial in the pre-season, which I said yes to, and then scored 2 on my debut in pre-season. And yeah, I was fortunate enough to sign at Woking and have sort of three seasons, I think there, 3 great seasons. Part-time team in the National League with really good players. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Obviously got on brilliantly there. Like the fans really took to me, which obviously makes it easy as a player. Like I said, we had some really good sides there in the 3 years that I was there, and came close to the playoffs, and yeah, loved it.
Yeah, you mentioned about training on your own. That must be difficult to try to motivate yourself to do that, or was it? I mean, are you the sort of player who wants to train, who wants to keep fit?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I wouldn't it was never difficult for me to do it, but I know it's not what you need as a player. You need to be out there playing games and testing yourself in, in 90 minutes, getting match sharp, and ultimately as a young player you want to be showing people what you can do, and they're certainly not looking down the park and seeing what you can do. So yeah, just needed to get a club really and get on the pitch. But yeah, it's a commonplace now really. I think you see it with a lot of players in the Premier League. They sort of looking for a club and they're posting it all on social media and stuff, showing that they're doing their extra bits and all the rest of it. So it's just part and parcel of it really. And all the players these days will be going out running pre-season and doing individual programs and stuff. So yeah, it was just about biding my time really and waiting for whatever opportunity came around.
Well, the opportunity at the county ground came around. So how did that happen?
So was having a really good season. Was very close actually joining Peterborough in January. But I think we were about second at the time at Woking, so we were doing really well in the league. Our top goal scorer was on loan, Dan Holman, who went to Cheltenham, and so he went to Cheltenham, and basically Woking weren't in a position to let me go as well, unless it was a pretty hefty fee. So Peterborough, that didn't come off. So again, just kept my head down, kept playing well, scored a lot of goals that season, got a lot of assists, and then the end of the season, there was a few clubs that came in for me, but Swindon was the first one really that I went to go and visit. Showed around the county ground, met the manager Luke Williams, and yeah, I was sold straight away really, the chance to play in League One and at such a big club. Yeah, it was obviously an easy decision for me, and I was delighted to go there.
Yeah, 2016-17, opening day debut for you against Coventry and a 1-0 win over the Coventry side. Looks so that might be a decent season. Didn't quite turn out to be that, did it, in a way?
No, it's funny. I felt my hamstring in the warm-up against Coventry, and that was a disaster because obviously that was my league debut. And I went in to see Luke in the manager's office. I said, "Luke, I felt my hammy." And I was sort of a bit like, what do I do? Like, I'm desperate to play. And he was great. Like, obviously, he's obviously got on to do great things, but his man management of me at the time was brilliant. And he just said, "Listen, Johnny, if you can't play, it's not going to make any difference to how you get on at the club." Like, so I did play. I probably played about 60 minutes. But I remember it was a great atmosphere because, first day of the season, sun's out, big crowd at the county ground. Coventry obviously had a good following. I think they had the Stratton Bank open, like it was a good day. And yeah, great win. I think who scored? Connor Thomas, maybe? Can't remember. But yeah, positive day. But yeah, won a few too many that season in the end.
Yeah, what was it about that season? As you said, Luke Williams, I think, is it fair to say he's misunderstood as Swindon manager? Would you say that's a fair statement?
Yeah, I mean, I understand it as a fan because obviously he left with the club getting relegated, and that's no manager's ever going to be applauded for that. I think I hear as well a lot of players that I've played with and have been before my time at Swindon that speak very highly of Luke. And I think as well, you look at what he's gone on to do since he's been at Swindon and the managerial career he's had. He obviously has a lot of attributes, and I can't speak highly enough of him really. So yeah, misunderstood maybe. I think Luke was never one for the limelight. I think he's probably got better at that watching his interviews in recent times. I think he's better at putting his point across in interviews and in the media. I think at the time he sort of shied away from that because he literally just wanted to let his football do the talking, as so to speak, and set his teams up properly and all the rest of it. But modern day social media, all the rest of it, it's a big part of getting a club on board and getting a group of fans on board that you interact with them and engage with them, not just on a Saturday, but within the week and all the rest of it. So I think he's probably learned from that because his actual work on the pitches, on the grass, his tactical detail is second to none really. He's lucky enough to come across Brendan Rodgers at Reading, and Luke's of a similar sort of coach, if you like, with his mindset and his the way he delivers sessions and all the rest of it. But like I said, ultimately it wasn't a successful ending for him. He was obviously at Swindon for numerous years as a coach, before he took on a managerial role and helped develop so many young players that went on to do really well. You can see that, you know, he's got great attributes, but that season I definitely wouldn't put it down on Luke Williams. There was other factors, which there always are at clubs, which get relegated. You know, it's not just one mistake; it's a whole host of things which probably could have done better. So yeah, I learned a lot from him though, and yeah, fully respect Luke.
I think you were always popular with the fans, weren't you? I think you know you were one of these players that they kind of liked your wholehearted style. But what was it that went wrong then, in your opinion? Because you know you made a few appearances, you scored goals. You know, 48 appearances in all competitions, the most of any Swindon player. I mean, what was it that went wrong that season, do you think?
I don't know, because we started pretty well. We did start quite well. I think there was a little bit of panic at the club, that we should be doing better than we were, which in hindsight was probably misguided. I think it's well documented, the sort of things behind the scenes that probably unsettled the club a little bit. So everyone knows that Tim Shearer got involved and came to try and help. Um, we also had a lot of players sort of in and out, like you said, I was the most appearances that year, but we did have a lot of players coming in the side, out the side, young players, players on loan. So it probably lacks a little bit of consistency. And I think ultimately we just fell by the wayside towards the end and couldn't turn the momentum, which is so important. You know, if you're down the wrong end of the table and you can get some wins and put a run together, you can climb yourself out of it. But at the time, we were sort of heading the other way and probably just didn't have the rubber to green in some games. I remember there was one game in particular at home. I might be wrong, but I think it was Oldham, and the stats were just incredible. And Luke presented the stats to us after the game. We drew the game 0-0. We really needed to win. We drew the game 0-0, and the stats were just ridiculous in terms of shots that we had, times we entered the box, crosses, possession, like everything you could imagine to try and go and win a game. But we drew the game 0-0. And there was also individual errors on the pitch that were just costing us as well. You know, I look back on trying to think of certain games where just individual errors really that you can't afford to do at that level, and you get punished for it. So yeah, again, maybe that, like looking back on it, maybe we could have been set up a little bit differently, been a little bit more resilient, if you like, a bit more defensive, but we didn't have probably the personnel to play that way. We had a lot of attacking players. We played expansive football, and when it worked, and I remember, you know, games Bolton away, I remember beating Bradford at home. There was games where it worked and we looked like a really good side, and then there was other games away from home where we just found it really difficult. And like I said, we just couldn't quite turn it around, which obviously is heartbreaking. And you know, it was just very disappointing at the end, to say the least.
How difficult is it for a team to turn things round? I mean, obviously the position Swindon are at the minute, you kind of think, right, put a winning run together and promotion is certainty, you know, but it's not that simple, is it? I mean, what, you know, Swindon have got pressures up towards the top of the table at the minute, but pressures at the bottom, I mean, are equally, if not worse, aren't they?
Yeah, they're definitely worse. Yeah, 100%. I mean, at Slough at the minute, we were, I think, 5 points adrift at Christmas, and we've won a silly amount of games recently. We're second in the form table for the last 15 games, and we're like mid-table now. So we've managed to get a real momentum and just kick on. And teams do that, but teams go the other way as well. And it really is a mixture of confidence, a mixture of momentum, form, players being out injured. There's a whole catalogue of things that have to fall into place for you to get consistent wins. And you hear it all the time, like winning becomes a habit. You know, you soon go out and expect to win games of football. And I'm a Tottenham fan, so at the moment I look at the fixtures and every game looks like you're going to lose the game. You know, you'd look at it and think, oh, you know, Brighton away, you're probably going to lose, and Fulham away, you're probably going to lose. Whereas when you're playing well, you see those as wins. So the mentality and the psychology behind it's massive. And it doesn't matter what end of the table you're at, it really doesn't, especially the last sort of 10 games, because it just becomes a war of attrition, really. And a lot of it's to do with the mentality of the group and yeah, the psychological demands that the season has as well. I've been in quite a few relegation fights in my career, and it takes a unique sort of mindset, really. You have to be super brave to still go and get the ball, and it sounds crazy, but you have to be willing to make mistakes and continue to make mistakes, because you know that the one time that it does work, that goal might keep you up, but it's probably comes through experience as well. I was probably like 23 at the time at Swindon, so I was still a young player myself, and maybe we had too many of those young players at the time. I don't know. But yeah, it's hard to put your finger on, and I'm sure any manager that can put his finger on it's worth a lot of money.
The word's confidence, isn't it? I mean, confidence is a very fragile thing in any walk of life, isn't it? I mean, goodness me, what is it about confidence in a footballer then? Can it change just like that? How does it work?
Yeah, I mean, I can only really speak for myself, really, and I'm an absolute confidence player. I don't mind admitting that. If a ball hits me and goes in and I don't know anything about it, I suddenly feel $1 million, and I, sort of back myself to go and get to that game and go and get. But yeah, it's just the way it is. I think as an attacking player, especially, it probably weighs on you a little bit heavier. But again, it's a little bit of everything. I think the environment that you're in really helps, or can obviously be a negative aspect in confidence. I feel like players that have been at clubs longer, they sort of have more an ability to gain that confidence, because their surroundings, they know that they're trusted at the club and the manager trusts them, and there's little things like that. So when I mention about high turnover of players, you have to imagine, like in January when we're struggling and there's a lot of young players coming in on loan or coming in from other clubs, they don't have transition time to bed themselves in 15, 20 games. A lot of the lads are living elsewhere. They don't live in, the West Country, so they're moving over and staying in new houses, and then they got to hit the ground running in a side which is probably not struggling a little bit. So there's loads of elements to it that come together. But yeah, confidence is a massive thing, and I think a lot of managers these days, half of the battle for them is just instilling confidence within players. I feel like a lot of players are quite fragile these days as well. So you have to have a skill. It's an attribute to get a group of confident players out there. Yeah, firing on all cylinders together, really.
A couple of comments. This is from Darren. He says, my son went through the Cardiff Academy. Their handling was appalling. A good mentor is massively important. And if you're mentoring young kids, then in any walk of life, that's got to be a massive thing, hasn't it?
Yeah, and yeah, I can relate to that a little bit, because like I said, I was at Reading for 11 years all in all, and when I got released, that was sort of it. There's no real at the time. And again, this is a long time ago now, but there was no real support network, and I think things are a little bit different now. But it is hard, and that's why I say, like, mentally resilient players are just vital. You probably actually don't make it if you don't have that strength of character, because you're going to get rejections and setbacks and injuries and dropped from a team and lose games and all the rest of it. So yeah, a mentor is important, but you've got to find it within as well.
Adrian, hi Adrian. He said, Luke Williams, going back to interviews, I think the quote that many Swindon fans remember is 3 draws is the same as a win, and that's kind of stuck with him ever since, really. Do you remember that, or was his mentality? What was that particular phrase about?
I don't remember that quote, to be fair, but it's quite a funny one. Again, this is what I'm saying. He's probably learned from things like that. He was a young manager at the time as well, and yeah, you've got to be careful, because obviously anything can become a soundbite quite quickly. But yeah, like I said, Luke's weakness at the time was probably his interaction with the media, with the fans. I I'm sure he'd admit it wasn't the warmest person. You know, I see Ian Holloway at the minute, he'll go out and get the crowd going, go down the touchline and, you know, make a big thing of it. And that is part of it. You know, it gets the crowd going, it gets you on your side. And yeah, like I said, I think Luke's probably improved on that over the years. And like I say, when I've seen him in interviews, he comes across quite well. So yeah, probably not one of his finest moments anyway, that one.
The following season, of course, down to League Two, Luke was replaced by David Flitcroft, I think it was. You got an injury early on, didn't you? And that kind of that messed up your momentum really in staying in the team.
Yeah, again, first game of the season, so Carlisle away, which is quite a draw. First game of the season, at least you get it out of the way. And yeah, we played really well up there, got a good win. I remember that well. Great following as well up there on the first day of the season. But yeah, just a real bad one on my foot, and Finn managed to finish the game, got through the game, but was in a boot for a little while. I had injections in my foot to try and get fit, and yeah, just struggled to get back in the side. I think when I got back in the team, I actually scored on my first game back at Mansfield, so that gave me a real lift because David Flitcroft, we basically ripped the squad up. So the team that got relegated obviously needed changing because it got relegated, but there wasn't many of us left at all. I remember Lawrence Figueroa got loaned out in Ireland. I remember Luke Norris was still around the place but not really playing much. And I remember Connor Thomas was one of the last ones as well, and he ended up going on loan to like India. So I think Flitcroft really wanted to get his own squad in place and have players that he knew and trusted. I think he probably saw it as a stain on our boys' CVs that we got relegated, which I can't knock, but I was the one of the last ones really desperate to try and get in the team. And I did play, but I was in and out. Like you say, I sort of got injured. And I just had a horrible little feeling when I played that I wasn't his player. I'm not saying that was his fault, but I generally felt like if the team had played poorly, I was probably the first one on, getting dragged off or dropped for a few weeks or whatever. Like I said to you earlier, I'm a bit of a confidence player. So if Flitcroft had pulled me in and said, "Listen, you're a massive part of it. You're going to play every week, and I think you're brilliant," I might have felt differently.
Yeah.
But,
well, I think that applies to anybody, doesn't it? In any walk of life, if you do that. Yeah.
Exactly. But I just had this overriding sort of feeling that I probably wasn't a big part of the plans.
So then, from what you're saying there, you kind of knew maybe your time at the county ground was coming to a close. Is that fair to say?
I was fighting to be a part of it. I wasn't looking to get out. But then, as the window was coming to a close, we had quite a big squad. Flitcroft brought quite a lot of players in. We had quite a big squad, and he said to me, like, I remember him having a chat with me saying, "Johnny, look, if a club comes in for you, you can go." And for me, like that says enough, really. So I was close to going to Lincoln with Danny Cowley. Had a couple of medicals there, which they got cancelled last minute because the club was still trying to agree a fee. And then deadline day, Stevenage came in. So yeah, a bit of a rush on deadline day, and ended up there.
Didn't go too well for you at Stevenage, I don't think, did it?
No, and again, like hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? But if I had my time again, I probably wouldn't have gone to Stevenage for obvious reasons because it didn't work out. But just deadline day, it was a little bit of a rush. I had to get in the car, rush to Stevenage, go through this, and it was just a little bit of a panic. Obviously, if I had my time again, I'd have stayed at Swindon. Not just because I'm sat here on a Swindon podcast, but I went into Stevenage, and 5 games later, the manager got the sack, and then a new manager came in that I just had no chance of playing in his team. Really, he played absolute long ball. Every player was 6'3", and that's not something that I really can fit into. So it's just one of those things in football. Like we said earlier, it's a bit of timing. And then David Flitcroft didn't last much longer at Swindon either, so it sort of was all change. But yeah, something I probably learned from, really.
Yeah, ironically, he went off to Mansfield, of course, where you scored that goal, didn't he? So, what do you look back on the most at Swindon? What's your best moment, would you say? What's your worst? I mean, it's a difficult thing, isn't it? Because in life we all have great moments, we all have bad moments. So are there 2 or 3 that you can pick out?
I think the worst moment, I'll leave the relegation because that goes without saying, really. I think the worst moment was probably when we lost to Oxford at home. That was just gutting, and it sort of kicked off in the tunnel after with the players, and it was just a messy day. Like, we just really didn't turn up, from what I remember. And again, like, massive atmosphere, great game to be involved in. And if you could turn that around, that's probably a sort of game that if you do win, it kicks your season on, it's that important. Best moment I'd probably say would have revolve around like individual games. So winning at Bolton away, that was out for me. Like I said, we had some really good moments, but just not enough of them. But overall, I just love playing at the county ground, really. Like, especially for me coming from non-league, like the size of the crowds that we'd get, the noise that they'd make. Yeah, I look back as a whole like really fondly. Probably something I'd do when I'm retired, that I'd go go back and watch some of the old games that I played in. But yeah, it was a great club to play for, but I just didn't have enough of the good days. Obviously, my goals were a highlight for me. I remember the first league goal, Shrewsbury away. Yeah, it was a special moment for me as well. So yeah, lots of good memories, but yeah, not enough of them.
That local derby, if I remember, Swindon went up, didn't they? Is it Fankety Darbo who scored a fantastic goal? And
I
then
think so,
yeah, Tim Sherwood didn't appear, and that was the beginning of his end as his short spell at the Swindon as director of football or whatever he was.
I can't remember the Tim bit, to be fair, but I remember we lost the game late on. I think, was it Maguire scored? And yeah, it was just, we were in a bad run of form at the moment at that time. It was a real kick in the teeth, to be fair. And yeah, it's just a shame because the county ground was rocking, and like I said, it's one of those games that's so important that if you win it, you probably turn your season around.
Yeah, so your time comes to an end at Stevenage, and then you go to Bromley. Of course, Bromley now flying high at the top of League Two. What was Bromley like at the time you joined them?
Bromley's a great club, and I wouldn't say I'd expect them to be where they are at the moment, but really well run, and had probably one of the best dressing rooms that I've been involved in. So part of the reason I sort of went there was I knew about 4 or 5 of the boys that I'd played with before, played at like England C with and things like that. And the dressing room was great, and they were bottom of the league when I joined, and a prime example of a dressing room that was just committed to not going down and getting relegated, and in the end finished like mid-table. Was absolutely fine. But I remember, as a group having player chats without the manager, not in a disrespectful way, but just to try and sort things out because there was things going on the pitch which we should have been doing better on. So I went in there and had a really enjoyable few months. Yeah, played a good part in them sort of picking up a little bit, and yeah, they've not looked back since, really. So really well-run football club that yeah, got good people involved there.
Are you surprised then where they are now? I mean, it's extraordinary. Really. I don't know if you've ever seen the film The Bromley Boys, which is a fantastic film. I mean, one man, his dog, and the dog didn't want to go, kind of thing. But where they are now is extraordinary, isn't it?
It is, and to be fair, they had a plan. So I think it's very easy for football clubs to say we've got a 5-year plan and a 10-year plan. And I never heard Bromley put a label on the years or whatever. But the chairman and director of football and everyone involved there, they presented to the players when you sign for the club, the plan of the club. And the plan was, this is what we're going to do with the stadium, the infrastructure, this is what we're doing with the pitch. We have a 3G pitch, and then we're going to do this and do that. And it was very detailed. And obviously even part of it in terms of like attracting fans. So like, Bromley wanted to do this thing where they're everyone's second team in South London, which is obviously a hugely populated part of the world. And they do that now. So if Palace aren't playing at home, they get like thousands of Palace fans go, and it brings in massive revenue for the club. So they're very clever in the way they've done it. But yeah, even when I played there in the National League, we'd play like Braintree at home or whatever, and there'd be like not many people there at all, So the transformation of the club's been incredible over a short amount of time, which probably, in fairness, like Swindon, is the frustration for Swindon fans because you've got a club there with years of history, huge fan base, like catchment area of Wiltshire, massive crowd, massive stadium, and yeah, just struggling to compete with lots of Bromley. So it's from one sense it's a brilliant achievement, but yeah, makes you wonder.
Yeah. Yeah, just to say, those who haven't actually watched the Bromley Boys, I thoroughly recommend it. It's a great film and sort of shows the side of non-league football that many don't see. And those of us who go and watch non-league football enjoy it thoroughly. So have a look at it if you get a chance. St Albans, Slough Town, Boreham Wood, and you mentioned England C, 3 appearances, I think. Ukraine under-20s, Slovakia under-21s, and Nepal. What do you remember of England C?
Yeah, a lot, to be fair. Some of my proudest moments, really. I mean, to play for your country at any level's a real honour. So the caps, you get a cap when you play for England C, as you would do for any other England team, and it's embroidered with the fixture, the date, and everything. So caps are in frames and the shirts are there, and yeah, great memories, really. Played with a lot of good players there that have gone on to have really good careers, professional careers in the Football League. They don't play many games, England C. I think they used to play 2 or 3 a season, but they rarely play, which is a real shame. And my last one was last year, so 8 years after my last cap, I got another call up, which was amazing for me personally. And we played the Nepal national team, which was a great experience. Like, they had thousands of fans and a wild atmosphere. Like, I've never experienced anything like it at a football game. But yeah, great experiences, great memories. To go out, sing the national anthem and everything that comes with it. So yeah, really enjoyable.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? Many people sort of would think, "Oh, England C, well, okay," but it is a huge. I mean, it's a huge honour, isn't it, to play for your country at any level?
It is, yeah, and it's easy for me to say that because I've done it. But I wouldn't say I wouldn't try and downplay it. But for me, as a non-league player, when I was younger, it was one of the things that you wanted to do. It was for me, like, obviously you're saying, "Oh, can we get a league move and all the rest of it?" But for all the non-league boys, part of it is, can I play for England C? Like, and to get those call ups shows you're doing something right. But yeah, you get treated brilliantly by the England C staff as well. Like, they treat you probably like an England player. I remember to Ukraine, we stayed in the same hotel the England team did, and everything was done immaculately, prepared properly, and you play with really good players that are all on top of their game. Like any international side, really, you pick the players on form, right? So it was nice because you'd have sort of 20 lads put together that are all playing brilliantly and happy to be there. So it's just quite a nice combination of things, really.
I don't want to intrude on private grief, but what do you think's gone wrong at Tottenham? I mean, it's an extraordinary.
God, how long you got?
Well, it seems to me that as a club like Tottenham, when I was younger, there was Bill Nicholson, there were people, and they had managers that stayed for a long time. But now the latest manager's under pressure, and he's only had 3 games. It seems ridiculous to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try and speak as a supporter rather than as a sort of player. I think Spurs have lost all connection with the fans as a club, which, again, potentially, you could relate to at Swindon a little bit over the last few years. But the turnaround in players has been huge. I think Heung-min Son was probably the last player that the Spurs fans had any sort of connection to. There's been loads of things that the club's just been mismanaged. Like, so my dad was a season ticket holder home and away for 40 odd years. And in the end, just gave a season ticket up because they stopped doing concession prices, and then they scrapped the loyalty system, and it's just really become a club which is just trying to squeeze out every pound note from all the fans. And it's sad to say that because, sort of a few years ago, Tottenham seemed to be a little bit different, where we had a lot of young players and, historically never really paid the big transfer fees or the big wages for players. But we didn't mind that. It's part of what we were, and it was part of sort of the underdog thing. And, obviously at the old stadium, it's a great atmosphere. But I think they've just gone away from their roots a little bit. Probably tried to chase it a little bit and spent big money on players that I don't really feel like have warranted that sort of transfer fee. And then there's just been too many of them. So players in, players out, managers in, managers out. and I don't think the fans really can relate to the club very well at the moment, which transpires on the pitch. And like I said earlier, you need a sort of mentality to avoid relegation and get out of relegation scrap. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not so sure that that squad's built for it, but there's still quality there. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, last time they were out of the top flight was in 77, 78, I think. I mean, we, of course, have benefited from Tottenham players, the likes of Hoddle, Ardiles, Galvin, Hazard. We've had a whole host of them at Swindon, some great names. So, you know, there is a connection there. What do you think of Swindon at the minute? I've got a question here. After watching Swindon at Crawley, says Dave, I can't see us getting out of Division 2. What are your thoughts? What do you think, Johnny? Because you must watch the results and see where they are. What are your thoughts on Swindon at the minute?
It can go either way for me. I feel like obviously the start was fantastic. I'm sort of hoping from my point of view that they've had their blip now and that they can overcome that and then kick on towards the end of the season. Every team has a blip, right? And there's never going to be a year where you just go plain sailing the whole way through. Again, I think they've got some really good players and a lot of good attacking players. I know he tried to sort of strengthen defensively in January as well. So again, it takes a little bit of a while to piece it together. The one thing I would say is I feel like now from an outsider who's trying to build like a squad there, and you have to give that a bit of time. Certain players that have been there, you know, not so long, but there's a couple of players that have been there a little while now where, you know, you can try and build a squad around. And most of the sides that are successful in like League One, League Two, they have a nucleus of players that have been there a while, and then you can add alongside that. And I think for me, Swindon's turnover of players over the last sort of 5 or 6 years has just been way too high. You know, the players come in and on 1 year contracts, they'll be in and out, and it doesn't, you know, you don't get any consistency like that. So yeah, it's touch and go for me. But what I would say is, you know, as a fan base, you've got to stick with it because it's probably better than a lot of the recent years as well. So there is progress, you know, from an outsider's point of view, as frustrating as it might be at the moment, because a lot of League Two games are so tight. It's like one bit of quality or one mistake, and then that decides the game. So yeah, it's fine margins as well. It really is fine margins. League Two, especially, I think, and from my experience in it, like a lot of goals are just a set piece, and then you win or lose the game on a set piece. So yeah, you just got to stick with it, I think. Fingers crossed, anyway.
You mentioned the transition of players. It goes back to what you were saying about your time at Swindon. You get a lot of players. I mean, you don't have one close season now. You have two, effectively, don't you, with the summer transfer window and then January. We lost a player, Finley Monroe, went back to Villa, then was sold on to Middlesbrough. I mean,
yeah,
that window in January is a difficult one to judge, isn't it? You kind of got to get players in and they've got to kick on straight away.
it is, but like, again, it's at League Two. I feel like the teams that really want to in January maybe like key positions, you know, they may be getting a striker in that's going to get them over the line, or maybe a centre half becomes available that's going to keep an extra couple of clean sheets. But I don't feel like, even looking at Bromley at the moment, I might be wrong, but I don't feel like they signed 7 or 8 players in January. They lost a centre half, I know that, but there might be a couple of tweaks, but you have to keep that continuity. And I feel like, yeah, some of the trouble in the past has been too many players on like 1 year contracts or on loan, you know, in and out the door quick. Whereas it takes, you know, a little bit of take a lot of bravery to put a player on a 2 or 3 year contract, but then you can almost start to build a squad around that as long as your recruitment's good. And then, like I said, in January you might add 2 or 3 players. Someone might become available on loan that you want to take a chance on. But I don't feel like adding 7 or 8 players in
January. Well, Johnny, thank you very much indeed for your time. And I know you rushed home for work for this, so I really appreciate it. And, you know, I know you were fondly regarded at Swindon as well. Many people still think of you in a positive way. That must be nice. You mentioned social media earlier. How much of an effect does that have on players? Does that affect players? Do they take notice of it? What happens with
that? I think everyone's different. I rarely use it anymore, but I think I'm the wrong side of 30, so that's probably just an age thing. You know, I've got too much going on with a family and that to be sitting on social media. When I was a lot younger, I definitely looked at it. Did it have an effect on me? maybe, but not a massive one. I definitely know players that it did though. I definitely know players that after a game would be checking what people are saying about them and how did they get on. So yeah, it is what it is. It's part of the modern world. Like I don't feel like fans need to not talk about things on social media or don't have a right to voice their opinion. I'm not massive for fans booing their own team and things like that. But if you go and tweet about something, like as long as it's within reason, it's part of modern world. And I think as a footballer, you probably best should just shut yourself off of it, and shut yourself away from it as best as you can. But yeah, again, we've spoken about it a few times. It's part of that sort of mental resilience and that mindset you need to have as a footballer. If we all have bad games and we all do daft things on the pitch and make mistakes, like if you can't handle someone sort of saying you should have done better, then you're probably not gonna survive very long. So it's all part of it, really. It's part of the modern game, like I said. But yeah, more positivity is always a good thing as well.
Well, we wish you well, and we wish you well at Slough. Obviously, you're still enjoying playing, which is the important thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like what I said earlier, you got to enjoy it. I think not sure how many more years left that we playing, so I want to enjoy every minute of it. And my teammates get younger and younger every year. But yeah, I've been lucky enough that I've played under a couple of really good managers at Slough that I get on really well with. And the fans, they appreciate me down there. So yeah, I've been lucky enough to be there a few years now and thoroughly enjoy it. And I've actually had a couple of Swindon fans come down and watch come down the M4 when Swindon haven't had a game.
Johnny's sort of frozen a little bit. Are you there? Can we clear that up? Or is it me? I don't know. The internet, who knows? It's a miracle thing. Are you there, or have you still frozen? Chris, are you there?
I am, yes. I think Johnny is frozen a bit. Are you back with us, Johnny?
Still here.
Oh yeah, you you just froze for a little.
Well, brilliant. Thank you very much, Johnny. That was fantastic. And I know it's been a busy day for you and everything, but yeah, thank you ever so much.
I hope you guys get up as well. I hope you get promoted this year, and I'll keep my fingers crossed. Be watching.
Yeah, we hope so too, because we've had too much time in League Two, thanks. And some of us who are older in the tooth would like to see us get up before too much longer, if you understand what I mean. That would be great.
Yeah, me too. All right, you take care. Cheers, Chris.
Don't go anywhere for a minute. Don't go anywhere for a minute, Johnny. Let's just finish this, and then we'll just say goodbye to you after we go off live. But thank you very much to everybody for watching. Vic and I will be back next week with the review of the MK Dons game, and hopefully we'll be celebrating 3 points. So until then, have a good weekend, have a good week, and we'll see you soon. Bye.